And happy Thursday, everybody! Welcome to your daily lighting critique. We've got a pretty good amount of images for a Thursday, so we're gonna hop right into it. We're gonna start with Diana because she always gives so much help to everybody else that we're gonna use her as an example first. So Diana, I think this looks really good. You got a lot of good reactions. I know that you're still working on the hair, but the one thing that I noticed from the reference to this was just the all of them kind of, except for the JLo one, all of them kind of use a cooler greenish color to make the skin tones pop out a little bit more strongly. And I think that we can complement her skin tone with something a little bit more cool or complementary to her back surrounding it there. I do like, but I like the soft shaping that you're getting on the back wall here. What is this? This like lower half?
No, I think it's just the color.
Like it's just like painted wall back there?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Maybe just like if it got more, like it was more of a non-matte, like a specular,
Yeah.
like a, just because it almost looks like the wall stops there and we're like seeing the edge of the world because it's so dark.
But yeah, okay.
Yeah, but in terms of, let's see. In terms of her lighting, because one of the things that I thought when I was, when I first saw this, I was like, I bet you it's more of like, I bet you there's like more darkness over here and it's more central, like top-down lighting, but it really kind of isn't. Like it is a little bit more expansive into the room a little bit, so I think that's looking pretty good. But I would want to see a little bit more, like I'm looking at this wall and you see that there's like, the light kind of starts to fade off in there. Even in this wall here, the light kind of starts to fade off like right here because all the lights are facing downward with a little bit. So I think you can do a little bit more, like the wall can get a little brighter from here down.
Okay.
In terms of the character herself, she's looking like the shaping is there. Everything's kind of. I think the basics are all in place there. It would just be a matter of, I think her maybe her skin tone could go a little warmer, but that's just based on the character. And then there's some like the eye reflection stuff. I'm not quite sure what's being reflected in her eye there. It looks very complex, but I can't tell what it is at the same time. So I'm feeling like it's, yeah. It just feels like, because all it's reading as is like a bunch of squares.
Yeah.
And so I think,
like windows.
yeah, if it's gonna be windows, maybe make them a little. I think make the reflection brighter.
Okay.
If it's gonna be that kind of thing. Does anybody have anything else for Diana?
I would say that the black stripe on the background.
Mm-hmm.
I think that also if it started at the end of one of the bricks instead of like right in the middle of the line of bricks, that would also help kind of like.
Yeah, if you look like super carefully at the left,
Yeah.
there's like some details. It's there, but the
Yeah.
lighting is washing it out.
Yeah, you can see it here, right? Like you can see the continuation of this line down in there. It might be tough on your guys' screens, but I can definitely see it. But yeah, so it's just getting that to read a little bit more. Good. But this is good.
The other thing that I've noticed looking at the references is that most of them, they have like, because they come, the light comes from above, their eyes are pretty in the darkness, and that kind of like gives a more tension feeling in the scene, where on yours, she's kind of like happy, giddy, lighting kind of, maybe.
Yeah, it's more playful than most interrogations.
Yeah.
Most
I mean,
movies.
it's, if that's what you're going for, then that's perfect.
But that's a really good note. And then, because this is an animated shot, right? Yeah, so like it might just be her head position in this frame because she is kind of her chin's a little bit out, like she's kind of her head's tilted back slightly. So I wonder if as you go through it, it'll change a little bit.
I don't have it in front of me, but if like maybe I don't know what the off-prem lighting is as far as that goes, but maybe it's worth a shot checking out.
Yeah, I looked at that, I think, but it was really, really green. But I'll look at it again. Thanks.
Cool. All right, so let's see. Alfredo's not here. Let's go to Andre. So it's the latest version, the old version. I think the layout's better. I think we could probably slide these over, like maybe just a touch each way. Overall, it feels a little like, I mean, it's a good overcorrection, but it feels like we've gone a little bit. It feels like the outside is getting a little bit too. It's a little too much. It's mostly in the saturations. I think it feels a little. Just it feels a little bit over cranked on the saturation, and then now the characters inside the room are getting pretty washed out with light, especially on this backside, which would almost be like shadow, right? Because they're just kind of getting light from their front half, and then all this stuff would kind of fall into a little bit more darkness. So yeah, it's just going to be like too much on their backside here. Where it would almost be, let's see. Let me check these guys. Oh. Put them in there. Let's say like that. Like almost, I mean, not quite to the level that the characters were at in the previous version. But something a little more like this, and then for the background, pull it back slightly, and then I wonder if then maybe just down a little bit on the. It's interesting what's going on outside because I like the overall like. I like the overall. It might just be too. What do you guys think? Is it like just too contrasty out there?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I just think, yeah, I think like the because the brights feel bright, but the darks are still kind of there. I don't know, but it feels like a little. It feels a little too much.
I don't get the sense of like a different explosion or something.
Yeah.
Just happens.
The word nuclear was in my head, and I didn't want to. Yeah, like it was like there was a big blast out there. So I think it's just. Yeah. Let's see. Let's go back to. What day did we look at? Tuesday. Trying to find some of this reference stuff that we pulled in. That's a good one. So why? You know, but this has a similar kind of darks out there, so I'm wondering if it's just the color, like the fact that it's consistent across the whole thing, and not like because this has got a little bit of the blues, a little bit of oranges, a little bit of variation in there. Where this one's kind of got a little bit more of a monotone color palette to it. So I think a little bit would help. What do you guys think?
Also, the plants, like in that one, the outside trees and whatnot are silhouetted versus these, which almost are glowing.
Yeah.
Might be part of the feeling of explosion.
There it is too. Yeah, it's because that's about being less directional in the shape because it's just kind of everywhere, as opposed to like specifically back behind it.
Yeah. It's like on the right side, you can see that there's a distinct sign where the brightest point's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
But then with this image, there's no like single direction where the sun will obviously be really exposed, but then going down from there. So I think it's also a little bit less saturated. I think too, just a little bit. It's not as. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think you're heading in the right direction now. It's just like this is a harder look than you think it would be. Because it's like it's got some like again subtle variations in tones and colors and brightness and like it's all kind of happening all at once in very subtle ways all over it. So yeah. It's good progress there.
Cool.
All right.
I think framing wise, you can put back the 2 poles that were in the middle. If
In here?
the characters. Yeah.
I think the one on the I like the one on the left. Yeah, that's a good one.
I tried with just one, or with just the one on the left.
Yeah.
And it felt really weird to me.
Okay.
That's why I took both of them out.
Maybe just.
Maybe if I move the other one, try to move the other
Yeah.
one the other way.
You know what? It's okay. You know what? I'm just being weird about it. I think it's fine. Try just leaving it back in as is for the next iteration. Because I get weird sometimes about like geometry that's directly behind a character that feels like it's kind of penetrating them. But I think it's okay. Yeah, I think it's more about those trees in the background which you cleared out, because now it looks a little bit empty.
Okay.
Cool. All right, let's hop over to Ashley. Ashley, this is good progress. Definitely looks wet now. On the ground, we're picking up some of these colors, getting some good values in here. Her pants are starting to look a little bit more wet. I think that this brick wall, there's two things about the brick wall. One, the brick scale feels very small, or it's farther away than I think it is. Like in comparison to her versus that, it just feels like very different scales. And then I'm wondering if we shouldn't just go darker on the front of it. Weird. Darker on the front of it, and then to allow like more of these color hits to happen around the edge. So it's like more like pink up here, but darker in here. I like these ripples. I do want to see them get a little bit brighter. I want to see some like brighter points in these. And then on her, I think all this is working well. This is probably too bright and too neutral. Like you want to really feel like the pinks as kind of like rim lights around her. Yeah, because you can see it kind of up around here as well. Just watch out for like any light that's more neutral. You want to really use that as an opportunity to really drive shaping with some more color. Because this one with those bright neon lights right next to her, it's all going to be about the color. Creeping in on her. How you doing with her? Do you have any questions?
I don't think so. I mean, all of that makes sense, like what you just said, and I'm just gonna continue to work on it.
Yeah,
So.
no, it's good. And then like we can also feel a little bit more of the blue on her from like these edge garments. Like that would be cool. And that could be, if it's not like, because it doesn't look like it's happening naturally with the shader, just putting like a little bit of light in there, like a small like a light source that just kind of falls off pretty quickly, but just gets a little bit of light right around there.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Okay.
Cool. All right, great. All right, Dani. So Dani, this is the more correct, because I saw the other one and I was like, oh, that got a lot brighter.
Yeah, this one's it.
Cool. It's actually interesting. I'm going to pull that one in just for a second to take a look at something here.
It would help to show that the fill that I put, I need to soften. Because there's a really hard line that shows up.
Yeah. Oh, like here? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there was something about this one that was kind of like there was something about it that like adding this like little bit of extra value. It might just be more in the highs, but like having a little bit more light in there I think helps. Kind of overall, like the brights get a little bit, the extreme highs get a little bit brighter, the midtones come up a little bit, and I think that starts to play out a little bit better. It's funny, sometimes these mistakes can help us out. But yeah, I think yeah. So have you started compositing with it yet?
Next week.
Next week. Okay. But yeah, I think in terms of the lighting that you're in a pretty good spot. Other than you said like that hard line, and then I would go back in and yeah, add some more detail on the shader on the couch, maybe a little bit more on the table too here in the middle. But everything else is starting to fall into well. Anybody else? What do you guys think?
It's looking
Wait, I'm sorry, which one?
The moonlight, it looks like
Oh.
it's almost like there's a
Oh, yeah.
just going straight down, separate from the moonlight right now.
Totally missed that. Yeah, absolutely. There should be a little bit of shadow down here. Or even, yeah, there should also be like maybe no light down there, right? Because if it's hitting this table, like it's hard to see it continuing on past it.
On the same subject, do you think that hitting the table is a bit too bright? Should I tone it down a bit?
Maybe a touch, but I actually am fine with it. I think it looks pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I could see where you want, but I like, if you start to tone that down, you start to lose some of these highlights out here, and I do like to think, like, it makes me, it expands the world to me. Like, it does make me think there's more out there, which is cool. Yeah. Yeah, no, this one's looking really well. It's just a matter of getting some more details in some of the shaders, like you said. Good. Cool. We'll come back to Jeff. Jordan, we've got this one with your tighter spec. Let's see. Man, I closed it. Let's do that. Let's see. Just regular old Jordan. There we go. Yeah, let's do it this way. Where'd it go? Wait, weird. Sorry, give me just a sec. Okay. We're gonna do it this way. So, let's see. So the one thing that happened in the tighter spec version is we started to lose some of the shadow in here. And I do like that, and that kind of loses some of the shaping. I'm wondering if I think there's still too much diffuse on her skin. Like again, if we look back on something like this, we're starting to see like a darker, a little bit more of a darker skin tone with more of the specular in there. And I do think that we can kind of go more that route. Like this area of her skin can come down in value, maybe 1 or 2 stops. Because what that does is, I saw it in somebody else's. Let me jump the gun a little bit here. So one of the things that happens is when the skin tone gets nice and dark is that these, like the detail really starts to come out. Like in the freckles, in these dots, and then like we can start to pick up some of these other values as well. And by hitting it with a little bit too much light, we're kind of losing that. Because that contrast isn't able to come out.
Okay.
So I think that would be the main one. And then because it's the same thing with the color of the lights, because we're trying to push too much in the diffuse. It's changing her hero color away from that, because it's like we're getting more like bluish in the hero color in here. And so it would be nice if that was only in the reflect in the specularity, right? And so that the hero color was a little bit darker. It's really, really hard. This is something that and this is the reason why this is an important topic, is because it's really hard to get it right in CG. But I would just take another like think about that, and I think you had some reference up too. I think you had some good reference of that look in your last iteration. Just go back to that, richer skin tones, more color in the spec, and I think the rest of it will start to fall into place too. And feel free to go a little more like with his background plate. Just throw it out of focus a little bit too. We'll do that. Cool.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. All right, so Kay is not here. Luiz is not. Is Luiz here? Am I missing anything? Okay.
I'm here, though.
Hey, how you doing, Kay?
I'm good, thanks, man.
Good. All right, cool. So I'm gonna disregard the old version a little bit because it's very, very different now.
Yeah.
It's like a different character and a different thing. So, so this is cool. I think your depth of field. First off, your depth of field is spot on. Like this looks real. Like this feels very natural with the space, and I think that looks really good. The biggest thing I want you to work on is I think we can get the character to pop a little bit more. We can make him overall a little bit brighter. and also play up the rim a little bit more on him.
Yeah.
So like, because you've already got this kind of a natural read on the character, which is his orangey fur against a very kind of desaturated, cool background. It's just about giving it enough value to make it happen. And then since this light is up above, we can really play it as like a strong rim on him that almost silhouettes him up. That like defines his edge and allows us to read that. And then we can leave this about this value. It may actually go a little bit darker once we get the brighter edge on it. But I think this is looking about right. In terms of the rest of it, like I think the ground feels really good. Like I said, you're getting these like you can feel the moisture on it. The wall feels pretty good. This I would go ahead and turn off. Because I think that like right in the corner isn't really helping us.
Yeah.
But
I got that on the other window on the ceiling.
This one?
That yeah. That it like reflects onto the window.
Yeah. I think this one's good. I think this one's okay. I mean, you play around with it. Because I like the way that this one's giving a little more shaping, a little more life here. I would almost consider turning off that light because I think the windows are working really well over there. And then in terms, or I mean, the bigger thing that we'll have to do, and we'll have to do it here too, is on the glass itself. Like I can see the influence of the light on the wall, but I'm not feeling like there's a light source right here. Right? It doesn't feel like there's a light source right here. That would feel very much brighter and kind of blown out. Like there'd be. That's more about having like a light bulby object with a glow and like and a good emission shader on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is really cool. Anybody else got anything?
There's this light right above the character. It's like a harsh line.
Like this?
The other light that's coming in, like perpendicular to that one.
Oh, there's this down here.
Or sorry, it's like right. If you look at the character's ear and go up like just the tiniest bit. There's this down cut
Like this?
right there to the left.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so like if that had a little like less diffuse, a little more back and softer edge, that might be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So which line was it?
There's a light coming in perpendicular to the door. Yeah, that one. Is that yeah. So just like a hard edge that I noticed. Like softening that edge. Yeah, I like what it's doing with the bump map on the wall.
Yeah, the bump map's coming up really nicely. That actually might be more of like what I just did by brightening the character though. That might be more me than him.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, but this I think this is shaping out to be really nice. This is nicely composed and nicely framed up and everything. I think it's gonna be really good. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Tristan, you're here. Okay. So let's start with the poker post one. So you updated this, and I think, I mean, I'm gonna shut up on this one because I think this is good. I was looking at this before. Does anybody? Do you guys have anything for him? Because I think I'm happy with this. Silence is the winner. We got it. So in rounds, there's usually a call out to final something or ship it or approve it or mark it approved. We don't really have that here. Maybe I should start doing that because the silence thing is a bummer. Maybe we should just like mark it like, all right, it's demo reel ready or whatever. I'll start saying, I'll have a catchphrase. But I think this looks really great. Yeah, good job on this one. All right, so let's take a look at this guy. So we've darkened the screen left a little bit. We've added the space outside the room. Pulled back some of the haze on here. We've made the plane blue. Was it blue before?
No, it was wrong.
Yeah, it's definitely popping more now. I think one of the things for me is the shadow softness on the wall could go a little softer on it because again, it's like it's about it passing through panes of glass which filter it and like break up the light a little bit. It's just like the very tight shadowy edge on that one is tricky. And then yeah, I'm wondering if we can't go. Let's see something. I'm wondering if we can't go brighter. Like, I think pushing the brightness a little bit more could even work. We do it more in the lighting because it's like doing it here is just starting to kind of clip off some of those values a little bit. But what do you guys think? Is there anything like compositionally we can do to get this space to read a little bit more?
Yeah, I think maybe we could get a little bit more of the, like I noticed, with the sun hitting in, I would expect to see maybe just a little bit of rim shaping on the, whatever that thing is on the right side.
The globe here? There's a globe and a
Like,
telescope.
Kind of like
Yeah.
rim shaping it a little bit. I think that'd be kind of cool, just a tiny bit. And then maybe some of it hitting like the, let's see.
I also think that we could tone down the reflections in the lamp here.
Okay.
Like it feels like, yeah, it feels very metallic.
I think we could tone down the red of the wall.
Oh.
I think it's clashing with the blue a little bit. I think if you desaturate it or turn it more warm, not neutral tone or something, the plane would pop more.
Even.
Yeah, because I think you want to focus on the plane and the pictures, like not.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily need to keep the red wall, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, just because also your references were like really just brown all over, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a greyish color.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You can even play with darkening the portrait a bit more if you really try to draw the eyes to the right side of the frame.
Like darkening in here?
Yeah.
Yeah. I almost wonder too, because we have these bigger shapes in the immediate foreground here, but not so much over here. Like, it depends on how much you want to read this. It might be beneficial more to allow the right side of the image to be open, and then kind of block off maybe a little bit more over here.
Okay.
It's just because like these kind of start to close this off a little bit, pretty strongly. Yeah. All right. Is there anybody who's on right now that we missed? Got the Ashley and Andre, Danny, Forrest. All right. I think we can hop into a couple of the others. Do Jeff real quick. So Jeff, this looks a lot better. I think we can go like it's. It sounds like he was wrestling normals to get those into place, but that like they seem like they're more uniform now. I think overall they can come up and be a little bit brighter, but the uniformity is a good thing, a good place to be. Danny, does that make you happy? I think that was your note initially. Yeah. In terms of Ashley, I think she's looking really good. I think that we can, again, like looking at Sylvain's again and some of this reference, we can continue to push this like specular highlights in here. I know I'm gonna say that so much over these 2 months, but it's so important to get like those like that kind of glistening. Again, from the talk, it was about more being, more think about like moisturizer, lotion, like a very hydrated skin. Would just have more bits in there. But I think the tone is good. I think the shaping is good. I think that the colors coming in are right. It's just about maybe adjusting the shader a little bit to pick that up, or running a separate spec pass and upping that in the AOV. Okay. Yeah. Does anybody have anything else on this one for now? Yeah, I think it's looking good. Yeah. Luiz, I remember this one. This was a while ago. I mean, first off, the resolution is much better on the new one. That helps. By the way, if you ever want to make like an old and new version and make the old one look bad, just down res it. Just like just do a higher quality. I did that once. I feel awful about this. I did that once for a film. I got some notes on a shot, and I had like 11 shots to hit for the next day, and I just didn't get to it. But I was able to render it higher resolution overnight, and I got it approved the next day, just because it looked better at higher resolution. And I remember telling my boss that one. I love the color play of this. I love the soft cool, the warm. His arm is creepy real. It's like for some reason I think the older one it felt more cartoony and then it felt okay, but this one it feels like something bad has happened to a real human, and that worries me. But I think, I love the look of the light bulb itself. It's not easy to get that. You're getting some of the refraction here. There is some like edging issues on some of this stuff. Like there seems to be like a dark line around the outside that's a little bit aliased. And I do want to see a little bit more of this warm light like hitting the edge of this stuff and like at the edge of his pants. I want to just feel a little bit more of its influence. Like it looks really nice in the pipe. I just want to see it more on him. And then this pipe here feels a little bit dry. I want to see maybe like I get that this is a top-down light here, but maybe it's creating a little bit more of a rim effect on it. Although it may be in front of it now that I'm looking at it. Either way, I want to see more specular value in here, and I want to see a little bit more shaping on this pole. But this back wall looks great. His head like a lot of this stuff looks really good. This is a cool shot. I agree. I like this concept. I'm into this. All right, Sylvain. So we've referenced yours a couple times. I think like looking at, let's start here. I think looking at her overall, I think she's looking really, really good. I want to see more like this spec is cool, but like one of the things that's happening is on this fill side we're getting some really nice play from these cool lights. It might be a good idea to tone this down to allow this to do more look up of like the cyan up underneath her chin. Her eyes are looking really good, but on this side I want to see those darks come up a little bit. I want to see, I'm cool with it like going dark on this side, but this side I want to see more of the iris. And then the eye white can come up a little bit. And I just want to see her in a little bit more of an environment too. I think that'll play in a lot into what's going on around her. Even if it's just like something simple, I think having her lighting over black can be problematic and look and cause things to look a little bit different. Like it actually makes her like you can keep it darker, but like it like some of this stuff like I can't. What's that?
He said he was. He said he was doing that next.
Then you're one step ahead of me. Thank you. But yeah, like I love. So one of the things I was just looking at a different one. Was it Jeff's? So one of the things I was looking at with this was I was wondering if this was too diffuse in here, and I think, like looking at how, I mean, it doesn't have to get this dark because it looks like he changed the shader on it, but I do think that getting like this type of value, and we're seeing it too in Vanessa's over the last couple of days, just like getting that sheen across it is pretty cool, and just like feeling that a little bit stronger would be nice. Picking up these zippers are really good, but yeah, it's and then at this level it's really wondering if there's a way to like it's just drawing the focus more upward at her and getting some more attention up here, and I think that's a matter of brightening the eyes and bringing those out a little bit more. Do you guys have anything on this? I think this is looking really good, and I love the reference. Again,
So good.
yeah, insecure. Like, again, a lot of this stuff is all very similar ideas in terms of like specular value. And then looking at her, yeah. I think it's looking good. I think you're doing really well. We've got Wenhui. I think the face looks better here. I just want to see this wall. Actually, looking at this, I want to see this wall back here get a little darker. Like I like the value up here. I want to see that happen down here as well because that'll pull the character forward a little bit. And then maybe it's interesting that we're getting this like, because I'm like, wouldn't we see some of the red through this? Right? Am I crazy? Like, I don't know how that would work. Now that I'm looking at this, like through the lampshade, I think we would see some of that. I don't have a red curtain to reference that, but what do you guys think? I want to see a little bit of the red back there. Yeah.
I think you could feel a little bit of it.
Yeah. Because it's just like refracting the light coming through. I would think it would still be there. But I love like this. What you've done here is beautiful, right? Like it's really really nice to be able to, like you've created light on this side of the books, dark here, light here, dark here. Like to create, like you really feel like there's a circle that we're supposed to look at, and we get a payoff from that picture. And I think that's really good. Shaping on the chair is looking a little better. I still think it can go a little bit darker on this side. But yeah, I think this is looking pretty good. Does anybody else have any notes on this one?
About the curtain, I think it depends how thick it is.
Yeah.
If it's really thick, the light won't go through, so you won't get a red highlight.
Yeah.
And also, right in the center of it, you have red, and then you have dark. I think you can soften the change a bit.
Yeah. Did somebody else have a comment too?
Yeah.
Oh, Tristan.
Also wondering if it would be cool to have a bit more spatial around the frame on the books. I think it might.
The ones on the wall over here?
No, I mean on the frame, right on the frame behind that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, that would be good too. That's smart. Yeah, I'm into that. All right, cool. Well, I think that's everyone today. Is there anything I missed? Not at all. All right, cool. Well, thanks guys for joining up. We've got about 10 minutes. We'll be doing Diana's demo. So and then once we get that in place, we'll send out, and everyone will be working in Aces, no problem, automatically. You'll never think about color management ever again. Danny will never have to worry about exporting EXRs and importing them into Photoshop. Easy peasy.
Hopefully though.
And like a 3-page doc, that's all it takes. All right. I'll talk to you guys soon. I'll see you guys. All right, bye.
Do you have a question you wanted to ask?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. So, I wanted to ask, how is like feedback and getting notes? How does that work, like in an actual work environment? Like, what's the overall atmosphere? Because I know like here it's pretty calm, pretty like relaxing, and actually like really exciting. But,
It's
like,
that.
in a different environment.
It's that. It's exactly this. Like this is, we're trying to simulate it as best we can. The only thing is that you're all working on the same thing. But like, you know all these people. You're friends with all these people. You've been with them for an extended period of time. It's, I mean, it's honest. Like it's you get like the same way that you guys do. Like, you know, you start to get thick skin to this stuff, and it's more about an understanding that everyone's working towards the same goal of making good images, and then yeah, it's pretty similar to this vibe. So sometimes and like as you get closer to the deadline, it does ramp up in intensity, and it's very much like, okay, do this. The only thing that is different is that we watch a lot more of sequence of shots, like or we'll compare the shot in this sequence to a shot earlier in the film with the same character, the same asset, to make sure that the colors are matching. It's a lot more of that, like making sure that like the red of this chair matches the chair is the same level of red throughout the whole sequence. But in terms of the mood, it's pretty similar to this. It's a friendly industry. There's no there's really like nobody's a jerk. There was a guy who used to work at a place that I worked at before I got there who was pretty grumpy about his feedback, and he would just like his approval would always be like, all right, I guess this is good enough. All right, send it, whatever. Like that was like the only downside. But for the most part, it's like, you know, you go to something like, oh, this looks great. This can get improved on. This isn't good. And even if you throw up something that's like a mess, Like, it's fine. I mean, you're just like, hey, I'm still working through this. The one thing that is different, and although I kind of do it here too, you usually don't get an opportunity to speak to the shot before you start looking at it. Like, and which is kind of the way I like it. I don't like, because like sometimes people will like, okay, in this shot I was trying to do this and I did this and then this is what I wanted to get to and this is this and this is that. Like, so, like it's a lot more. You have to let the image speak for itself, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is good because that's what you want. Like you're not going to be sitting next to every audience member when they look at your thing like, hey, no, I was trying to make this darker so this pop. But yeah, it's a very similar vibe. It's also a lot more like there's always people coming and going too. At least for us, like you'll call in, be like, you know, a shot like this, we'll be like, hey, you know that red curtain doesn't quite look right. Can we see if the shading artist is available? Maybe they can swing by and they can take a look at it with us, and they come by and they'll talk it through, and then, you know, whatever the case may be. At least that's how it used to be. Now it's just like everyone, like it's like our remote rounds just look like this. It's boxes of faces, a thing on a screen, and then that's that.
Cool.
So.
That actually makes me kind of happy to hear, because I love the environment with like the critique and everything. I was like, please let this be the same when I'm about to out.
Listen, I'm sure every industry is different, but like I said, I've been having lots of talks with different companies and going on interviews and stuff, and everybody's so nice. I haven't met like there's not like I've not run into a place yet that's like, oh, I wouldn't like the vibe there, right? Like that's I'm sure they exist. Maybe I'm just lucky, but like it hasn't really been a thing yet.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
No problem, guys. I'll talk to you all soon. All right, bye.
Take care.